In this video, we're going to look at changes in aggregate supply. Short-run aggregate supply is mainly affected by firms' production costs, while long-run aggregate supply is mainly affected by the economy's productive capacity. But of course, some changes can affect both. Let's first look at short-run aggregate supply shifters. The SRAS shows the amount firms are willing and able to produce at different price levels when some costs remain fixed. If production costs fall, profitability rises, and firms will supply more output at every price level, causing SRAS to shift rightwards. Wage costs is a major cost for many businesses. Suppose that nominal wages rise faster than labor productivity, then the cost of producing each unit of output is going to increase. That causes profit margin for firms to decrease, so they become less willing to produce at existing price level. So the logical chain is higher wages without matching productivity growth is going to result in higher unit labor costs. That lowers profitability, and that lowers output supplied at each price level, causing SRAS to shift left. But a wage increase does not necessarily always shift SRAS left, especially if workers also become proportionately more productive. So the important concept here is unit labor costs, not simply the overall wages paid per worker. Changes in energy and raw material prices can also shift SRAS. An increase in oil, gas, or electricity prices raise costs across many industries. A delivery company pays more for fuel. A manufacturer could pay more to operate machinery, while supermarkets may face higher transport or refrigeration costs. So higher energy prices means higher production costs, reduced profitability, causing SRAS to shift leftwards. Changes in exchange rates can also be SRAS shifters. A depreciation makes imported raw materials and components more expensive in domestic currency. For an economy that imports significant amount of energy, food, or manufactured components, this can increase firms' costs, reduce their profitability, and cause SRAS to shift leftwards. But the final effect depends on how dependent firms are on imported imports. Changes in indirect taxes and subsidies can also shift SRAS. An indirect tax, such as tax on fuel or production, increases firms' costs. That reduces firms' profitability, causing SRAS to shift leftwards, while a subsidy does the contrary. It reduces firms' effective production costs, raises firms' effective profitability, and that must shift SRAS rightwards. Temporary supply-side disruptions can also shift SRAS. More specifically, it can shift SRAS to the left. Natural disasters, wars and strikes, or supply-side breakdowns can reduce firms' ability to obtain inputs or transport finished goods. These events can shift SRAS leftwards even if the economy's underlying long-run resources have not been permanently changed. Now, let's shift our focus to long-run aggregate supply shifters. The areas could shift when the economy's sustainable productive capacity changes. A rightward shift represents an increase in potential level of output, while a leftward shift represents a decrease in potential output. A useful framework is to consider the quantity and quality of production factors and the level of technology. Now, let's shift our focus to the size and scale of the labor force, which could be a long-run aggregate supply shifter. The productive capacity of an economy can increase if labor force grows in size. This may happen because of population increase or immigration, or a higher retirement age, an increase in labor force participation, or better childcare provision that enables both parents to work. However, the number of workers is only part of the story. The quality of education, training, and healthcare can also improve the skill or the quality or productivity of labor. And those could also shift SRAS to the right. But the effect can take years to appear. That is why education and healthcare are usually considered as long-run policies. Now, the quantity and quality of capital also matter. Investment increases the quantity or the quality of capital available to workers. Capital includes machinery, equipment, factories, and software, even transport networks. Suppose that a manufacturer introduces automated machinery. Each worker can now produce more output per hour. So higher productive investment is going to result in larger or more efficient capital stock, and that's going to raise the overall labor productivity, leading to greater potential output, shifting SRAS and LRAS to the right. But not all investment has the same effect. Replacing a broken machinery may simply prevent productive capacity from deteriorating. Well, changes in the level of technology also matters. Technological progress allows an economy to produce more output from a given level of inputs. For example, better logistics software may allow a delivery firm to serve more customers using the same number of vans and drivers. So technological improvements result in more efficient production. Lower resources are going to be required per unit of output. There will be higher productivity that shifts LRAS to the right. Technology also shifts SRAS to the right by reducing current production costs. So it influences both long-run and short-run aggregate supply. Changes in the quality and amount of infrastructure also matters. Infrastructure includes transport, energy networks, digital systems, and communication. Better infrastructure reduces delays and makes it easier for workers, for goods, and information to move around the economy. For example, improved railway network results in shorter and more reliable journey times, and that means workers and goods can move around more efficiently. This leads to an increase in business productivity, and that shifts LRAS to the right. But poor infrastructure can act like friction inside the economy. Resources exist, but they cannot be used efficiently. Well, the amount and the quality of enterprises and institutions also matter. Productive capacity depends a lot on the environment in which firms operate. Clear property rights, access to finance, effective competition, and predictable regulation may help entrepreneurship and investment. By contrast, corruption, political instability, or unreliable legal systems may discourage long-term investment. So greater economic and political stability means lower risks for investors and entrepreneurs. That encourages investment and entrepreneurship and greater productive capacity. That shifts LRS to the right. But finally, the amount of natural resources matters. The discovery of new natural resources may increase potential output. But conversely, depletion of resources and environmental damages or a permanent loss of agricultural land may shift LRS leftwards.